Congratulations. You're average. Hey, it's nothing to be ashamed about. You worked hard to be average. You made every decision in such a way that you ended up right here. Oh, how do I know you're average? Well, you did just click on a video titled How to Escape Being Average. Need I say more? I will though, because that's the whole point of a video. You see, I'm not judging, I'm not throwing shade, and dudes who live in glass houses, well, shouldn't be throwing stones. I'm average too, but this is how I'm going to escape it. You see, it's all about a mentality shift. It's all about realizing that you might have been great in the past, but it's time for a retrofit. What is a retrofit? Simple. It's when you take something old and useless and turn it into something still old, but incredibly useful. All right, let me explain. Take this Game Boy, for example. Atomic Purple. Game Boy Color. When this thing came out in 1998, whoo, boy, it was the talk of the town. And let's be very clear. Atomic Purple was the best color. Screw you lime green people. Atomic Purple was the best. I digress. But that was the best in 1998. This thing ain't keeping pace with a Nintendo Switch OLED. It's not keeping pace with a PS5 or a PSP or anything for that matter. But it could. It very well could. I mean, is it still alive? Let's check. You heard it. It's still alive. It still works. You see, machines and people are kind of the same. This is electronic, we're biochemical, but the metaphors kind of align quite well. So let's go ahead and start taking this apart, because the first step of any retrofit is to go ahead and look within. Oh, hold up. Warning, kids at home. Before you start taking apart electronics, take out the source of electricity so you don't electrocute yourself. All right, now let's continue unscrewing this. Okay. Where were we? Yes, about looking within. The thing about looking within is that sometimes it requires things like meditation, contemplation, therapy. You got to do it, and it's going to be painful, because sometimes all you're going to find is some dust bunnies and maybe a little dust, and sometimes you'll find a little bit of rust or goop that you really don't know how it got there, but it's been slowing up your entire process for years. This is what the retrofit is about. Don't be ashamed about it. So let's take off the next layer. Take a look at the motherboard. See, the motherboard is kind of like your soul. You're not going to switch this out. It is what it is. That's the soul you've got. But you can fix everything around it. You can fix any components that are a little broken that are attached to it. The case, the buttons, the screen, everything. But the motherboard is you. So don't fret. Just work on it. But, like I said, a retrofit is about changing out the obsolete and going to another level. What's the first thing we're going to do? Look at my notes to remember what this very complicated metaphor. Ah, yes. This right here. No, it's not bubble wrap for your sensitive emotions because you're being triggered right now. It is protecting your new shell. You see, the shell is kind of like your body. It is protecting you, it's carrying you, and most importantly, it's housing your soul. Now, there's not much to it. It's strong, sturdy, new plastic, no dust, no chips, so we're good to go. But that's not the only thing that's involved in a retrofit, otherwise it's basically a glorified paint job. What else do you need? Well, you need a screen, speakers, buttons, batteries. Not those batteries. Screw those batteries. New batteries. First, an OLED screen. Because we all remember this guy. Your parents driving, you sit in the back seat, waiting for the next street lamp so you could see which wild Pokemon has just appeared. Fond memories of how I ruined my eyesight. No more. Now, we're switching to an OLED screen. OLED, you know, that new technology that people are using, that they're clamoring for super expensive TVs because they have the inkiest blacks and the brightest brights, and yada, yada, yada. But more than that, your screen and the speaker, that's how you display, pun intended, and project your identity. Who you are, what you provide, what you do, what is your value. And now I'm not saying that the outside world gets to judge your value and what you do, but they will. Screw them if they say the wrong thing, but they will. But it's so you can let those around you that you care about know what you bring to the table and how you represent yourself and how you are just a stand-up guy. But if you're dealing with no backlight to project who you are, that's like being a guy with no confidence that's not willing to stand up for what's right. So you got to work on that. And you'll get that confidence because, well, you have a brand new, strong, and healthy shell that's not going to buckle under the pressure of force from, you know, some douchebag at a bar that's trying to hit on your girl, or some person that's just trying to be disrespectful for no reason. You will stand your ground because you know your shell can take it, and you will display your truth loud and proud. But here's the thing. Those two things in the retrofit come with work. And work is, well, it's work. It's difficult. It's arduous. It's annoying. But it's also a constant. So you need something that stands the test of time. Maybe these brass buttons. CNC'd to custom fit the old Game Boy, but work for years longer than this Game Boy will ever last. And yes, I got CNC'd brass buttons custom made for the Game Boy Color because I'm a grown-ass man-child with a little bit too much disposable income. It's fine. But that's the point, is you want something that lasts. You want something that ages gracefully. Brass patinas, plastic just gets crappier. Brass can take a hit. Plastic shatters. So you want to build yourself and build your discipline like brass, not plastic. Because you're not going to shatter. You're not going to give up. You're not going to say, oh, this is too hard, I'm just going to sleep in. Because you are building a better version of yourself. You are rebuilding into a man that you should have become, a man that is not average. And in order to keep all of that going, this is so important. I want you to stay with me on this, guys. In order to keep all of that going, you need a good battery. See, this isn't just like this silly AA battery with the bunny that keeps going and going and going, because it doesn't. It's practically false advertising. This is internal. It's a lithium-ion battery chargeable by USB-C. That is a battery that I have to go every month or so to CVS to go buy. That is energy that I get from outside. This is energy that I get from inside. Don't fight me on the metaphor of unplugging this into the wall. Just go with me here. This symbolizes your intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation, intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation means exterior. Exterior means outside. It means that something on the outside of you, something outside of your body is giving you motivation to do it. Oh, I want to go to the gym because I want hot girls to like me. Or I want to get this much money so these guys will invite me to their boys' trip to Las Vegas. Or whatever. Intrinsic motivation is I want to do it because that is my identity. It's because that is who I am. And listen, don't get it twisted. I'm rebuilding myself right now as well. So I'm not fully certain where I'm pulling my intrinsic motivation from. Because sometimes you need a little extrinsic to kind of jumpstart things. But eventually, if it's going to sustain, it has to be all you. So we're going to put it all together and get something really, really good in the end. And or I'm going to burn myself with a soldering iron. We'll see. First, let's get this old speaker out. It works, but we don't know for how much longer. It's kind of been in and out, and we will slowly work our way into getting it out. There we go. One out. Let's just let gravity do its thing on this one. All right, so remember how I said it's gonna be difficult and time consuming and you have to just stick with it because it's not gonna be a walk in the park, yada, yada, yada. Well, in trying to install a new speaker, I may have done a bit of a boo-boo, but in fairness to me, I am a lawyer trying to repair tiny electronic parts. I'll figure it out. Hey ChatGPT, how do you fix this up? So what we have here is called a lifted pad. That requires a multimeter to figure out where to put the wire now. Not a big deal, not insurmountable. Hard work is always necessary, like I said, but that doesn't mean we just stop and give up. We keep going. And just because we screwed up soldering one thing, doesn't mean we now are forever afraid of soldering something else, because we still have to solder stuff in this build. One more solder, and it has to do with an OLED. It's just 2 spots, but it is necessary. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's in. Now we can flip this guy over. ChatGPT says C, so we are going to C, because remember kids, C's get degrees. I think I by accident managed to do it. This is going to be a very interesting endeavor. So you guys can't hear the music, but I promise you it's there. And by there, I mean in the headphone jack, because both speakers are over there, the old one and the new one. But look at that quality. We had an early L, but we've got more W's now. All right, so now we're going to get to reassembling this whole thing with all of the new stuff in it, because we are the champions. We are the champions. Now we're gonna put in our CNC'd brass buttons. Okay, now put this back down, put it in place. That's down properly now, that's down properly now. I think we're getting somewhere, ladies and gentlemen. Then we're gonna put this in here. We're getting close, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, there's something wrong with the connection. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with the battery. It's how the battery might be seated. All right, beautiful. And we've got the headphones here. So let me confirm for you guys that audio is okay. And you already hear from here. All right, let's see. Ooh, Oh, that classic sound. Here, let me just put it by the microphone. We retrofitted this Game Boy. We had some problems along the way. As you can see, it's not perfect. I have to go back and realign those because it's never perfect on the first try. That's the whole point. That's why you need to just push yourself to keep trying and keep going. Because honestly, at the end of the day, it's worth it. If you like this, subscribe. I'm putting out videos every week, and I hope you'll join me on my journey to rebuild a man. Peace.